Hey, CSU students. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to Recitation 9 and welcome back to remote learning. We're going to try something a little different today. I'm going to do some recording for you. Hopefully my children can be just working quietly on their work while I do this, but you might see them pop over and wave at some point. Yeah, everything's good here, and I'm thinking of you all. Natalie and I have had a big learning curve along with the rest of you, so we're just trying to embrace it and do our best every day. We're thinking of you guys. Sad that we don't get a chance to touch base again in person before the end of the semester, but we're still here for you if you need anything at all, okay? So this week we're talking about close reading. And as we get started, just a few reminders. Labs reflection number 7 is going to be due Monday, April 6th by 11:59 p.m. Please make sure you're using the updated remote learning reflection questions. And those are the same as last week's. So what we're going to do now is talk about close reading. Here's the learning target. I can close read text and show my thinking through annotations. So this is where it would fit in routines for digging deeper, although you can also, this is flexible, just like text-dependent questioning, where you might be able to use it for introducing or synthesizing as well. It does go really well hand in hand with text-dependent questioning, last week's skill. Here are some things just to know quickly. This is really about engaging with a text that is complex. So you're not necessarily going to choose a full novel or a 200-page textbook to close read. Close reading is when you're using a shorter text very purposefully. Okay, we're reading it, rereading it. We're trying to understand some central ideas and key details. Then you get to reflect on a couple of different things. What are some key details, individual words, as well as what does the text mean as a whole? Okay, this is from your class text, page 89 in Visible Learning for Literacy. It's engaging in repeated reading of a short passage, and students a lot of times annotate the text as they read it to mark their thinking. So a lot of times this might be something you've printed or have a digital copy that they can mark on digitally. Then we get to have some discussion and analysis, either independently in groups or with your teacher. Here's how I think about it. This is like the most basic way to think about close reading. You read it one time to figure out the gist. What does the text say? You read it again to analyze or clarify more and to better understand it. This is where you'd look at key details, word parts, questions that are not familiar. And then finally, you think about what are the takeaways or implications, big ideas, themes. Here's some student examples if you want to see how we've used it with middle schoolers. This was an article from Sports Illustrated called Gamers to the End. It was published by Sports Illustrated but written by Rick Riley. We talked about with students how to think about some common annotation marks. So they practiced maybe underlining key points, starring important statements, numbering in the margin where there's a sequence of events, writing notes or questions along the side too. You can also see in this student example how the student might have underlined a word wondering, why are they calling this a caffeine drip? And you can see the question right over here and then see, oh, it means a lot of energy. The person rebounded like a man on a caffeine drip. He had a lot of energy. Then under here it says skinnier than a one iron. Metaphor, question mark, noticing some different elements of figurative language being used. So this is the side that students are close reading. And it's a helpful scaffold. And then you can also pair it with text-dependent questions on the other side, which is what last week's skill was. So as you're thinking about close reading, here's your job next. I'm going to stop the video and have you move ahead to this slide independently on your own so that you can go self-paced from here on out. You're going to look at 2 3-minute videos from Doug Fisher himself. And Doug Fisher is kind of our guru with close reading. He will explain more about what close reading is. And then if you move ahead to the next 2 slides, here's where you have your extended learning task this week. There's 2 parts to it. In part 1, you're going to get to choose one of 2 videos for a quick lesson study. Since you're not in classrooms this week, we want you to have an opportunity to see teachers teaching close reading in action. So you can choose either the grade 6 social studies and it's only a 10-minute video, or you can choose grade 10 social or grade 10 English, I believe, and choose which of those you'd like to watch. Of course, you can watch both if you want, but for your time available, we thought at least choosing one would be helpful. Both of these came from the edutopia.org blogs, so the source is at the bottom. After you've watched one of the two videos, move to the second slide for your extended learning task this week. Natalie and I chose an article called Classrooms That Put Students First. And that article was originally published here, but we've taken some time to turn it into what's called a close reading form. So if I click on the link here, this is what you'll do as well. You're going to see that the article itself is on this side, and then there are text-dependent questions over here. We're going to let you decide how much detail or time you want to go into with this. But remember, and you're not turning in this article to us for your extended learning task, but we would like you to spend some time for two reasons. One, it's an article that could be relevant to your teaching if you're thinking about classrooms that put people first and what implications the article itself has for you as a teacher someday. Second, it's an opportunity to practice close reading strategies in a student, from the perspective of a student. So think about, I know it's digital, so you don't have your pencil in hand, but how could you go through this and maybe you could go up here if you'd like and click File, Make a Copy. And then over here you can see you can make your own copy. And when you click that, it just says Copy Of. So once you make your own copy, you are welcome to type or highlight into it. It will now allow you to edit. So you're welcome to go through and underline some keywords, or you could find something here and you can move over and comment or put a question that you have as you're reading. So this is the same as annotating, you're just annotating digitally. How do you want to hold your thinking as you work? Okay. Also, you'll see the text-dependent questions on this side. Natalie and I just decided to go ahead and put those in there because we want to try to model some of the thinking or questioning we might pair with this article if we were creating it for students. So thinking back to last week's text-dependent questions and the different levels of questions, you could try to notice what types of questions we were using with this article. Again, you do not have to turn in this item, but we would love for you to spend some time going through it and just engaging as a close reader with this text so that you feel like you have that understanding of what a student might do with that as a close reader as well. Okay, finally, for the assignment or the lab reflection this week, when you're done with both part 1 and part 2 of the extended learning task, you're going to think about these questions for your number 3 on your lab reflection this week. So let me go back over here, your lab reflection, I think it is, down here. For this lab reflection question, it says, after viewing the recitation lesson, complete the extended learning task here. This is where you're recording your responses to these questions. Okay, so the first question is, after watching the lesson, what teacher moves did you notice the teacher make that helped the student close read or increase their understanding of the text? Again, from choosing one of these, you need to respond to what teacher moves you noticed the teacher making and how did that help students. Question 2 for that part of that question is, after trying this close reading form above with the article Classrooms That Put People First, what parts were helpful and what would you change as far as the close reading form itself? So be thinking about, like, if you were trying to make a close reading form or pick a text and put it into that type of format like we did, what would you say was helpful or confusing that you would do different if you were to create one? Okay. So that's really it for this week. After watching this video, I know you'll still have some time to spend with viewing the Doug Fisher videos, as well as one of the two lessons. and then spending some time with your article and your lab reflections. We still wanted to make it a reasonable amount of time for you because we know you have a lot going on. But knowing that typically when we spend time together, it's from 8:30 in the morning and all the way until about 10:30 after lab time. So we hope that you can accomplish this in that time, that you get a lot out of it, that you enjoy watching some teachers teach lessons. And please check in with Natalie or I if you have any questions this week. We hope you're all doing well. Take care.